Greetings, everybody. Amar here, and I'm doing a video for Brandy. She reached out to me on YouTube, so I'm doing it in A plus because the screen recorder allows me to record. It doesn't record a gold very well for some reason. Maybe I'll have to update with a new screen recorder. So anyway, we're gonna go to the main menu. So I'm gonna hit escape. And I like to start with chart number 7, the hit charts. Now I actually did copy, or rather I have a hard copy of chart 7. I did print it out because when I look at the charts, I do like to cross-reference them, and that is probably one of the best charts to have as a hard copy. So if we go to number 7, which is their hit charts, so you have the last 50 here, 25, and then 10, right? And these go up and down, of course. So you can see right away that the 15 here is the top number in the last 50 games. Now, the way she originally has this set up is that you're supposed to look at the worst number here to see the number that is the coldest. So I have that marked in the hard copy paper. So number 21 is the worst number right now. So we're going to look at that one very closely. And then you have the 17 and the 9, and you can see that they have smart picks because they're recommended by the program for whatever reason. So another thing I have here is the 11. So these are the numbers you really want to focus on and see where they are in the comparison. So that's the last 50. So the easiest way, of course, to print this out, you hit function F2, and then you can print on standard paper. I actually did print to this file, and then I named it. It was like NC Hits, I named it. And then I had to open it up. It gets saved in the Gail Howard folder, the GH folder. And then I put it on a flash drive and I took it to my other computer because for some reason I'm having driver problems with this computer with the printing. Anyway, TMI. But so once you do that, right here, you hit enter, and then it goes and saves it in that folder, and you can print it out. You can open it up in Notepad and print it. I opened it in Word and printed it. So, and then I marked it with my highlighter, where I highlight the hot number is pink and the cold number is blue. And the pink is just a general flag formation watch kind of. That's the color that I use. You can tell from my other videos. So I use the pink so that I can locate the flag formations. Now, when I came closest to my jackpot, this was back in 2009, I actually had 2 years of Drawing Sense hit chart on the wall, and it was all formatted color. And eventually, my mother made me take it down. She was really they didn't like it there. But then when I didn't have it up, I did worse because I would look and count the dormant periods just by eye, and I'd have to do it fast, otherwise you can get stuck. But anyway, so that's what I did, and the Drawing Sense hit chart was my own that I created in Excel. But you can also print out the whole Drawing Sense hit chart. But I mean, you don't want to print out the whole. I would say the last 2 years, just to get a very bird's eye view of the patterns. So anyway, so we're going to go to chart number 4 now. So 4 is a Drawing Sense hit chart here. So we're going to look at the cold numbers where you have the number 9. So you see that you have the number 9 here. You can see it's coming in a reverse flag. It's a reverse flag, or it's like a reverse cascade position. It's not, in chart 7 gave it a smart pick, but it's not a smart pick here. Now, generally, what I've done is well, here you can see after this number 1 came in reverse. See 28 and then 4, and now it's 3. So there's some symmetry there for the number 1, and it's not a smart pick. But so this is, to print this out, I would change the range. So like you go F3, function F3, and then you would do minus 365 from 474721, and then you can try and print it like that, but it is a lot of paper, and you could mark the patterns on it that way. So let's see, where are we here? I noticed that 43 numbers they keep adding numbers to this game. I have a 5 of 43 where I am in Pennsylvania right now, and I can't get it for the life of me. I mean, actually, I can, because I was counting the dormant periods, but the problem was that I went back to New York, and I can't get to the store. It's really far. It takes me like 40 minutes to get there by bicycle. So that's why I don't really play too much. I don't really bother. I did play a treasure hunt, but I played a multi-draw. It got up to 130,000, but that's RNG, and I'm not crazy about RNG. But again, I'm digressing here a little. Okay, so chart 4 is a drawing sense hit chart. So what I like to do is I go to function F4. Okay, so this is another drawing sense hit chart, just from left to right, and then you have the numeric, which I think is the most important one. Now, I did as to your question as to is there a way to export from A+ to Excel? Yes, there is a way. I don't remember what it is exactly at this time. I was actually taught by Teximos. He taught me how to do it, and he taught me this like back in, I guess, like 2012. And I actually started. You get all, you print out all the numbers, and then that's when I started rearranging the numbers to try to get a better visualization. But now I can just take it out of gold. It's easier. Or I can just run a filter in Excel, and I make my own skip charts that way by running a filter off of the drawing sense hit chart, which was also gifted to me by Serge, who was on Lottery Post for a while, and he has his own lottery website. I threw him 25 bucks to well, just to say thank you, but I haven't been using his website too much. I may take a look because I need better 4Bs, right? So okay, so here's the 4B, and so let's just look at the top number of the 15. Where is it? Whoops, I meant to hit the down arrow. Okay, so you can see here's that reverse, the 28 and the 4, and here you can see here's a flag, 12, 1, 2, 4, 1, 6, and then it had 28. So this would be, let's say, this is a downstroke. The 12 to the 1 is a downstroke. And the way I like to think of it, I've organized my skips into classes. So skip 0, 1, 2, and 3, I call them hot skips. 4, 5, and 6, those are flag skips. 7, 8, and 9 are intermediate skips. And then 10 and above, they're all long skips. So if we look at one of the cold numbers here, I start counting my dormant periods, right? So here's one dormant period. Well, let's see, what went before 16:4. Okay, so here's a streak, right? So here's one dormant period, two dormant periods, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, and then it went to 35, and then you had a hot skip, right? I tend to bet on the hot skips, and when it goes to skip 4, 5, and 6, I'll let it go. So here you had one dormant period, two dormant periods, three dormant periods, four dormant periods, and this is a clean count. So this is a clean count of the dormant periods, right? Meaning that there's no technical corrections or anything. So this 9 is certainly one to watch. It's at 4 games. It's in the reverse flag pattern. So here you had a hot skip before these two dormant periods before. So I don't like the reverse flag. I think that it's a little bit unpredictable, but I will make an exception at 4, right? Because if you get a 4, then you could get after the 4 hits, then I look for a hot skip, right? So I would play the 9 at 4, and then at 5 and 6 I would let it go, because here you can see it came in at 7 over here in reverse. Now, one also way that I like to bypass chart 7, okay, is I change the range here, so it gives you it filters the information a little better. So if you go function F3, and then I've already did the math on paper or my calculator. So 4671 will be 50 games. So hit enter, hit enter. Okay, now, so here, this is the last 50 games. These are the hits in the last 50 games. So here you can see it only had 2 hits, right? And this also I would print out. I would print this out for the last 50. And so you can see what's hot and what's not. So this is cold, the 7, and that's, let me see, 17 here is cold. It's out 7 games. So 2 dormant periods. According to the last 50, it's 2 dormant periods. But if you go back farther, it could have more. Like for instance, you see, looking at the last 50 for the number 9, you only see 2 dormant periods. But if you change the range, F3, go back to, let's say 1. All right, so you can see now you have 1 dormant period, 2 dormant period, 3 dormant period, 4 dormant periods. So this is one to watch, and that's why it was a smart pick on the hit charts. Well, let's look at the best number, 15. So the 15 is in a classic flag, right? Here, this was hot and hitting. Okay, now one of the things that I noticed is that, you see, after this 30, and then you had the 0. So Gail Howard says to play the first upstroke of the flag formation, or the second upstroke. She says that. But what I found is if you wait for the second upstroke, sometimes it won't come. Or in this case, you might have been looking 0-5, and then you just, it never went to 5. But you did get symmetry, and it was a hot skip. So this is 2-3-2 symmetry. You see that there? So, yeah. Matter of fact, it's 0-2-3-3-2-0. So that's perfect, ridiculous symmetry. So you had 1 dormant period here, and then 0-3-1-2, and now 2-5. It's in a classic flag. So that's why it's being suggested. So if we look at chart number 4 now, here you can see here. Let me see, down arrow. Oh wait, no, looking at the 15. Sorry, 1-2-5. So it's a flag. But in my opinion, the 5 is better because, first of all, it's an adjacent here, and you prefer a hot skip, a 2. So I usually play like symmetry. So let's say 5-7, right? You'd have a gap 1 here, or even maybe 5-6, right? And here, the 11, you can see the symmetry here. It's 4-4. Right? So 5-6-11, I would certainly try that. So I would say you have to try the 15 because it's the top number. I've noticed that the numbers that hit in flag formations usually are the hottest number over the last 50 games and the coldest number eventually when it comes in. So like this 9 may have a couple of flag formations, but in this particular instance here, F4 function, function, where am I going? Function F4. Okay, there we go. And let's change the range again. F3, go to 4671, 4671, 4671. I'm a little rusty with the Advantage Plus software. I usually do everything in Excel. And of course, there's more charts to use, but this is my number 1 favorite chart right here is the 4B. So I already mentioned a couple numbers and why I like them. So I'm going to write them down on paper here. So 5, 6. All right. So 5, 6, 11, and 15. Right. So I think the 11 was at 4. The 6 is what? At 6. The 5 is at 2. The 15 was at 5. All right. So then, take back to that question, getting the information out of A+. Yes. So Texamos, he showed me how to do it, but he has to retrain me in that because I forget. it's like 4 or 5 different steps. He actually takes the 4B out and he puts it into Word, um, which is what you have to do that first, I think. And then from Word, I put it into Excel, and then I was rearranging the numbers to make it more um, better to understand. But each chart like that takes me about an hour. I did do it. He was playing Texas Lotto back in 2012, and I had a 4 number win that he played for me, and I was playing this year, but I had reset these charts, redesigned these charts rather, and I actually have them. I might do a video on those because that was like an original, but I've made them better. But again, it's time consuming. It takes about an hour, so it's got to be a very very important pattern. There was a website back in the day called Lottery America that had a very very good breakdown of expecteds and actuals for groups. So like groups being groups is part of the 10 game group count. Um, but they're defunct. So when I came closest to winning my jackpot, I had the 2 years of drawing sense hit chart on the wall. I was using Excel. I was looking at the spreads and the gap, and actually this combination I had been playing it for a while, and then I just dropped the ball. Kind of did like a Bill Buckner kind of thing, let the ball go right through my legs. So let's see. So 15 here, and then so I already like a couple numbers low, 5, 6, 11, 15. And you can see here 5, 3, 1, 4, 4. So that's symmetry. She calls those bottoms, but symmetry just makes more sense. The other thing that's confusing is a cascade means that the skips are increasing, right? So like, let's see, where's a cascade here? Let's see. Well, 2, 8, 21 would be cascade technically. 2, 8. I mean, you could disregard this 0, but 2, 8, 21. Let me see if there's or like 4, 7, 4, 7, 5. Well, sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not. That's why they're a little tricky. And when I think of a cascade, I think of a waterfall, and a waterfall cascades down. So it's just like a little backwards. It's like I think it's like it's doesn't really make sense. So I say the number's coming in, right? It's cascading in or it's cascading out. It makes it more sense to me. So let's see, where are we here? So I basically just look for symmetry, and I'll have to do more videos on the filters, because I always do the group filter and then I run the let's see, let me see if I show you here. Chart number 9, right? So in the last 50, these tell you the best quads. So here you can see this hit twice, 15, 28, 31, 39. So in the last 50 games, this hit twice with the 15. So you might want to throw in some of these. So like, let's say here, this triads, like I had mentioned. So for your wheel, right, I would say like, I said 5, 6, 11, 15. You add these numbers, 23, 31, just because they're part of these companion triads. And then let's say put in the 28 and the 39 and see if lightning strikes again with this quad. Maybe you'll get maybe 3 numbers will come from it. So I guess I don't know, any other questions? I guess you can shoot me up on the other video. Yeah, so and I'll have to organize my stuff, but you see when you change the range and then you run chart 9, it gives you better information and it's not so convoluted. So this I would print also. So again, you could do F2, print on standard paper, or I printed this file and then I transfer it to a flash drive and I put it on the other computer. So these are hard copies that I like to have, and then you just kind of wait for that 9 to see if it comes in, right? If I played it 4, it could come in reverse flag, but after it has a hit, I always look for a hot skip. I'm always looking for 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if we look at chart 5, right, real quick, the repeater chart in the last the double hit ratio in the last 50, let's see here. 4 is recommended here. 7.8 is the average in the last 50. And this should, yeah, so I guess you would add the 4. So if we go back to chart 4, here's the repeat. Now, generally, I always like to put the first and second number to repeat. Like here, the second number repeated. 1, 2, this is the second number repeated. And then let's see here, see 1, 2, the second number repeated. So that pattern, I call that a positional repeater chart. Those are one of my more advanced charts. I actually made it in Excel. I just it's a real dinky formula that I made, but it works. And so there's a flag formation hidden underneath all these flag formations. And so so this is the first number, and then the second number to repeat would be, where is it? Over here, the 25. So you can see it's coming in reverse, right? 16, 4, and then I would look for a hot skip. So 0, 1, 2, or 3. Here also you can see this is 4, 3 symmetry, and here's an adjacent. Here's another flag, but the flags usually do me wrong. Here's a 6, here's a 6, 6 symmetry. And you could do, here you can see it's coming in reverse, 18, 4, 1, 1. So I would definitely play the 35 there. So that's how I kind of reduce my number pools. So the numbers that I've marked on my paper here is 5, 6, 11, 35, skip 1, 15, skip 5, 23, skip 5, 31, skip 5, 28, skip 6, and 39, skip 2, also coming in reverse. And then the 4, because it's a repeater, and the 25 is a repeater. So I usually just do all my numbers within the last 5 games, usually based on what she said in her book. But then there's also another hidden flag that I made for in Excel, where you can see that because sometimes that'll go cold also, where you'll just be having long numbers because the flag formation for 4 or 5 numbers coming in the last 5 games is anyways, it's kind of, I'd have to show the chart. Yeah, so I don't know, I hope this helps. Any questions or anything else? I'll be doing a Texas workout eventually in my Excel, because again, Texamos is out of his very great charity. He's probably one of the most charitable people I've ever met, and so he's playing some games for me, and he's also doing his wheel, and he uses the 4B, and he marks the numbers on it also, where hot or like pink, and you know. But it only goes back 5 skip periods on the 4B. Generally, I like to go back as far as I can, but for starters, you can have this, and then you could also change the range. Let's say F3, function F3, change it to, let's say 4,000. 4,000, so that's 720. That'll be 2 years about. And then you could print this out. It shouldn't be that much paper, right? You can see there, it might come out to 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets. Or you could just do the last 360. But here, this is where you start looking for dormant periods. So here, this is the number 7. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 dormant periods, came in reverse, had symmetry, hot skip, upstroke 4, symmetry here 6. So this 6 was symmetrical here, and then it went 35, went to a hot skip, right, and then an upstroke of 5. So this was a classic flag, and in the book she says she would have looked for the second upstroke, but there was no upstroke. It went cold. So now it's 1 dormant period, 2 dormant periods, 3 dormant periods, where the 7 is getting symmetrical, So I would say for your one long shot, maybe you add the 7. Um, but I think the best long skips to play, I think, should be between 14 and 16, and that just has to do with distribution. Like here, you can see the 21 is out 48, so this is cascading out. This is an exhaustion. But here you had 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4th dormant period here. So that's a clean count. You can, there's no technical corrections or any of that stuff. And then once the 21 hits, I would look for a hot skip. So here you had a hot skip. So 2 games. Here was a hot skip. Here was a reverse flag. Here's a hot skip. So I like to focus on those because they're cheaper, right? If you're looking for a hot skip, 0, 1, 2, 3, that's 4 days. So you have to play your numbers for 4 days. Whereas in the book, Yalhara says to chase it for up to, I think, 7 days, and that's because she says it could be coming in reverse here, like a reverse flag. But for me, I never liked this because it always got so expensive. I like a hot skip. So after this 38 long skip, you had a hot skip 3, and then you had a 3, and then it cascaded out 3, 8, 11, but then you had another 3 and another 3, and now it's at 25. So anyway, I'll do a follow-up video to see how those numbers perform, and I'll write down the number 7 here because it's got a lot of symmetry in it, right? 22, 26, 21. So you have the symmetry. 21 is symmetrical to 22. 21 is symmetrical to the 26, and 21, if you go all the way back here, is symmetrical to this 24. So, but then if it starts going past 26, I would dump it and look for this 8. So this 8 also has symmetry here. So it has 16, 17 symmetry. So in that case, the 8 might be stronger than the 7 because of this symmetry, right? Because this is cascading out, and because of the skip distribution, right? Lower skips have come in more, so it's better to play them. And I think one of the best skips to play would be like skip 10. So what do we have? Do we have anything that's out skip 10 here? Here's a skip 10. So yeah, maybe the 32 here. And again, that's based on a distribution. And sometimes you can get a streak of skip 10s hitting because all the skips, they hit in streaks also. There's so that's why she says like to look for the bias, right? I've noticed is that sometimes these numbers like the skip 0 won't have a bias, or you have to wait a long time for it to occur. And I've noticed for the New York Take 5 that sometimes skip 5 could go missing as many as 20 games, having a dormant period itself. And so those are, all some of the tricks and things that I look at. And yeah, so the numbers are in the video. I'll post them in the bottom of the video, but I don't want to make it too long because then it'll take forever to upload. So anyway, thanks for watching the video, and good luck.